Well, Fred and I just recently pulled one of the videos from
the Vault,
YouTube Vault on DSLR video, but really that's kind of half the story, and it actually proved to be pretty popular, even though we did that a couple of years ago. So what we thought we would do, follow up on that, is audio for video, because the audio side is as important, if not more important than the video side.
Right.
So,
people will actually take a lesser quality video if the audio is outstanding or very good.
Decent audio.
You want decent audio. It's a major thing, because how many times do you hear background noise and hiss and
or just low volume?
Low volume.
Yeah.
Or too much, where you're pegging the meter, so to speak, over-modulating, and it's terrible. So we have several things here.
Yeah, we thought we would what we do, we start. I used to be a
sound
many
technician
years in a previous life. I was an audio technician. I did TV commercials, industrial films, and so some of this stuff may be beyond what you want to do, but the microphones built into those little DSLRs record sound, but not very well.
They're not going to be that good. Also, they have an even shorter distance than other mics as far as how well they'll pick up.
Exactly.
And they tend to pick up a lot of background noise. So let's
talk about some of the things if you really are. This is
called a blimp. Yeah.
Yeah. This actually, what it does is it eliminates the sound. You can put a shotgun mic inside of it. It just opens up. I guess opens up the other end. Yep. And there's a mount in there where the mic fits in there, and that helps eliminate a lot of the wind noise and background sound. That's you generally need a separate boom amp. You've seen these, of course.
It'd be above, just out of the camera, out of the shot. And the nice thing about it, because it is directional, you're not going to pick up as much side noise. The downside is that whoever's operating has got to be moving it between.
Yeah, and you still need it close to the source. But this is probably overkill for 99.9% of you. But we just wanted to show you that.
It's out there.
So we'll just go ahead.
It's fun. And basically it had this guy in there, which is a standard shotgun. They make a lot of different kinds.
This can be used. It doesn't have to be used in the blimp. This is a Sennheiser. These tend to be expensive mics. You can, and this also requires something called phantom power. Either a battery in here or the device that you're using to recording has to provide power, because it does need power. It's what they call electric condenser microphone. And it also, this is modular. It can unscrew and you can put different capsules on there.
Right, there's a shorter version, longer version, things like that.
And a lot of people seem to think this is, well, I can be all the way across the room and get the sound. No. Even with these, you still need to get them as close as possible to the audio source. Right. Basically, the advantage of these is they help eliminate any noise that's not directly in front of them. So
let's talk about its counterpart.
Yeah, you can have a handheld. Now, this particular microphone here is wireless, and they've also got wireless Lavaliers. This is a wireless system that I have here. This is half of the wireless system. You need a transmitter and a receiver in order to use these. And there are two basic types. There is the UHF. They're the more expensive types. They have better range, better quality. They eliminate a lot of the radio frequency. Or you can get the cheaper ones, such as this, the Ambico. I don't even know if these are still made. I've had this for ages. But this is a VHF.
A lot more radio interference issues.
Yeah, a lot more radio interference issues. It doesn't have quite the range. But in a pinch, it's still better than using the mics that's built into
Well, the advantage, the microphone is on you, so it's local to the source.
Yep. And it's also synced to the camera,
because you're mounting
it's being recorded on the actual camera.
You're mounting the main transmitter on the camera, and then it's a receiver on the camera then, isn't it?
The receiver's on the camera.
And then you're putting the transmitter on you, usually having to hide that. That's the other problem with any kind of lavalier. You've got cables to deal with, so you've got to try to hide them. We've used them before. They work. It's good.
Well, I was going to bring those up there. Another possibility. You have to get the right kind of lavalier that'll work with your camera. These also require a battery.
Right.
And I require what is it? 4, I believe it is. Anyway, it requires a special mini plug in order to plug in and work with your camera. You have to check with your camera manufacturer, make sure that you've got the correct.
Right. Well, folks, this is not wireless. You're actually tethered to your camera at this point, whereas with
you can put another cable on it, but now you've got the cables in the way.
Right.
You're limited by the length of the cable, so there's a little disadvantage.
The nice thing about the wireless compared to this is that you have them separated. You're wearing one part of the wireless, and the camera's wearing the other part, and so you can have a little bit more distance from the camera as long as you're within transmission. You can transmit the signal, so you can't be blocks away necessarily.
Right.
You still have to be close enough that, and you actually can see on these if it's transmitting and you're getting, it's usually a set of dots that'll tell you.
One of the things we recommend
good range.
is using a headset. So and
to check
some
your
of
sound.
these things also may require an additional personnel that to monitor the audio. Something to keep in mind too.
Well, you have your Rode mic up there.
Yeah, this is
Tell them about
another
that.
thing. The Rode or similar microphones to the Rodes, and this also requires a battery.
Yeah.
And I think all of them do for most of the DSLRs. And I was asking about the mini plug here because it's a 3-contact plug that's required. I think the 4-contact is for phones, so it's a 3-contact mini plug. I won't say that's the case with all the DSLRs, but let's say 99% of them maybe.
It's a better mic than you would have inside the DSLR, so it's going to be nice. What are the downsides?
Well, downside, again, you have to be in relatively close as you get too far away. And even though this is a little shotgun, that it's still going to pick up some background noise. And the further you are back, of course, the higher you're going to raise the volume, and the more background noise it's going to pick up.
So these are for a close shot.
But the advantage of this is the fact that, again, it's in sync. You're recording the audio
at the same time.
So there are some...
And what's interesting is that you say, well, great, you can put this on a DSLR because it fits on the hot shoe, but many of your video cameras have a hot shoe mount for just such things as a mic like
and you can also move this in off the camera with the appropriate
with an
cable.
Extension, you can do an off camera.
Cable, so that's another alternative. Another thing you can do is external recorders. This is a Zoom recorder. This is an older style, but they still make these, and there's many varieties or variations of these. They can be relatively expensive. These also you can get in close. They can take most of them. So they can use external mics. This one even actually supplies phantom power, so I could use something like my Sennheiser if I wanted to. Disadvantage of these, Fred?
Got to be synced up.
Yeah, you have to post
after the fact.
After the fact, either in Premiere or whatever happens to be your choice for video editing, they have to be post-synced.
But these are pretty cool. We've used these in the field, and they're nice.
I used this for many years.
The built-in mic is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I've actually done some of the interviews and stuff, and just actually handheld it like this. If you're doing something where if you're doing your latest Hollywood type movie, that quite work. You're gonna have to hide
I can see it now. Okay, action. All right. No, not going to work that way.
Yeah,
but
we'll just remove that in After Effects. That's
But the whole time the guy's hand with nothing in it is, why is his hand doing that?
Well, another thing,
it's funny because each one of these has long and short, long suit, short suit. In other words, the pluses and minuses. Right.
Yeah.
We use
got
these a lot. The
These
Instamics.
are Instamics, and we've talked about these. And if you're on YouTube, I'm going to leave a little thing up here that will link you to our review. And I guess we did an interview with the creator of the Instamic.
Right.
And again, these have the advantage that they're close. You can hide them on the people. You can have one per each person. Fred and I each have one of these. And you control them with a smartphone app that you can turn them on, off, monitor them. Disadvantage, again?
Post.
Yep.
You need to go into your post-production and
they're not
resync them,
synced directly.
which is why when we use them and we interview or even just do a segment like this, we become our own clap stick. In other words, we'll clap our hands together so they have a sync point, and then we can sync up the audio with the video.
Yeah, that's something that I was going to show here in a moment, that you can have, like, I know on the tablets have
Right.
a clap stick, or just a simple clap of the hand.
Or if you want to go out and get one of those, you can find those in some of the antique stores and some of the different places that supply
I
film.
think Amazon has them. Yeah, you can get
get
the
those.
clap stick. But
that's the one where you can chalk onto them and put, what scene and everything.
Yes.
That's usually if you're doing a little bit more of a production,
Yep.
where you have multiple scenes that you're going to be putting together later in post. Again, gotta make sure the sync works and everything's done in post to bring your sound and your video
nothing worse than
together.
getting back into the editing room and then finding that the audio didn't record, or something went wrong, or it didn't sync. I want to bring up one last thing too: smartphones. Yeah, you can use Android or iOS or whatever. The disadvantage of these, again, you have to sync them post-sync. Also, there may be varying quality in the recording capability.
Right. Well, what about people who say, well, I want to record video and audio simultaneously using my smartphone? You can do that.
Do that too, but
it comes down to the quality of the phone. Your less expensive phones
that's what I was going to say,
are not going to be doing as good a job, and it will differ. I mean, one of the things that Apple has gotten themselves known for is that they do a lot better with their video and audio.
Yep.
People have been using that for films. One of the people we've interviewed, at least, Frank Capella, has used.
Yeah, he actually, we interviewed Frank, and you can go back again on YouTube. Maybe I'll put that link up here. Frank Capella, who actually used for a feature-length movie he did that's now on Amazon. And he used his smartphone for some of the audio recording.
For their audio.
Hey.
But, and you could do
it's
audio,
good enough
video.
for Frank, by God, it's good enough for you. Right?
So these are the different ways you can do it. Each is going to have a positive and negative because there are limitations.
Yep.
Sound can be
just
baffled.
be aware of
sound can be
what it's going to require. And why it's important to get it.
And indoors versus outdoors is a big thing.
That's another thing. Yeah, you notice that on here, this is sometimes they call it a dead cat. This is a cover to cut down on wind noise. Wind noise can be a real problem. They also make them for little Insta mics, and they have the little sponge caps. I don't think I do have one here. Bear with me just 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, jeez. But these are different ways for outdoors to try to eliminate wind noise.
Yeah, I wanted to show the little sponge.
There it is.
On the Lavaliers.
What'd you do? Lose it?
It's in here.
There it is.
The little sponge that goes on there. That will help, but the little dead cat, a little fuzzy deal like that.
These are a little nicer for that.
Much better.
Yeah.
It's going to eliminate a lot more.
This has that on there. It has the sponge cap
Correct,
on it.
Yes.
So, and you can take this off. It can be a pain to take. There it is. And see, there you have your shotgun.
It's a naked
microphone.
Yeah, these will eventually disintegrate, and you're going to have to replace them. What we got to talk about
cats.
Sound.
Yeah, there you go.
Woo. This is what we're talking about. And it seems like whenever you pull a mic out, an airplane or a guy who will pull out a lawnmower, never fails.
Never seems to fail. One of the things that we have to always worry about is outside noise. But what about indoors? What are your problems with indoors?
Well, it could be picking up the sound from air conditioners, the room tone. And that's another thing that's handy to get is just have a few moments, even if you're outdoors, to just generally have everybody quiet. What we used to do on the set is we would say, okay, room tone, everybody's quiet as much as possible. Do a clap, record maybe 10, 15 seconds, and 2 claps to end it. And that, in case you have to fill in anything, if on cuts, you have some ambient sound for that particular area. So,
but, when you're talking about room tone, you also have an issue where you sound like you're in a cavern.
And really, And again, it depends. The closer the mic is, the more that's eliminated.
And the reason I brought that up is that you've seen that a lot with interviews right now going on TV, where they're using Zoom or other types of remote methods.
Poor miking methods.
And the miking is not being done that well. They're relying on either the laptop or computer they're using or on a less expensive microphone that is not going to help you eliminate that. So what you put into it as far as cost is going to give you a better result. You know, you're going to get what you pay for.
So what we want to do now is we want to actually go out and actually show you or demonstrate audibly the difference in the camera mic versus using one of these methods. We're not going to do them all, but we thought we would do a couple here just to give you an idea so you says, aha, now I get it. So let's go do that.
All right. All right, well, we're going to show you what it's going to sound like with a DSLR recording video, but using the internal mic. So that's what you're going to hear is probably not that great a quality audio. I have to be close, and I have to be speaking directly or as closely as directly at the camera as possible. Now, one of the things I did want to point out is that it's a little windy out here now, and we've added our little dead cats to our Instamics, which are going to sync up with this guy, with the video camera that's recording. Now, the next thing we'll be doing is we'll take a Rode mic, mount it onto the hot shoe on the DSLR to show you the difference in the audio quality.
Okay.
So now we have added an external mic to our DSLR camera, in this case a Rode mic, that will hopefully give us a better quality of sound. Now it's going to be interesting because there's just enough wind that we may catch a little bit of noise on it, but the overall quality of the audio should be greatly improved. So now we have added an external mic to our DSLR camera, in this case a Rode mic, that will hopefully give us a better quality of sound. Now it's going to be interesting because there's just enough wind that we may catch a little bit of noise on it, but the overall quality of the audio should be greatly improved. So now I've been fitted with a lavalier mic. Normally I would hide the cable by trying to run it through my shirt and somewhere where you wouldn't notice it as easily. This one's interesting because it has a control for camera and for smartphone, and you also have to use an adapter if you are putting it on a DSLR. In this case, the DSLR with the adapter is allowing us to use the off/smartphone setting instead of the camera setting, but some cameras, and you'd have to test it, which is what we did beforehand. The audio quality should be better with this, and interestingly enough, because I realize I still have my little dead cat mic, and now I have this, I'm in ultra stereo or ultra stereo Dolby, and overhead now, here comes a helicopter to disrupt our sound as background noise, so it should be interesting to hear what that sounds like too. It never fails.
Sounding good. Okay, well, I think that about wraps it up, so just be aware, monitor that audio even when you're shooting video. Right, Fred?
Very good. Yes, exactly. Because sound is everything.
It's important.